Officer Fitzgerald was beloved with a palpable presence in his community. Members of the running clubs he was a part of in the city say Fitzgerald would run and advocate to end gun violence in the same neighborhood he lost his life.
A teenager from Bucks County is behind bars, restrained with the handcuffs belonging to the Temple University police officer he's accused of murdering.
Jillian, it's been a heartbreaking 24 hours here for the entire city of Philadelphia, and a memorial continues to grow here along the 1700 block of West Montgomery Avenue and Bouvier Street. This is just steps away from where Temple police officer Christopher Fitzgerald's life was taken far too soon.
He's disgusting. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. No empathy. Just an evil human being.
Boxley Farm is a 22-acre historic estate centered around a 1760-style stone manor house with hardwood floors, beaming ceilings, and several outbuildings. A young man named Miles, his mother, her longtime partner, and Miles' younger brother lived there. Miles was born in January 2005. His mother, Jill, owns and lives on Boxley Farm in rural Buckingham Township, Bucks County. Pfeffer attended Central Bucks South High School until September of 2019. That cannot feel further removed from the streets of North Philadelphia, where Sergeant Christopher Fitzgerald was killed. Yet, on the morning of February 19, 2023, U.S. Marshals, the Central Bucks Special Response Team, and Philadelphia Police converged on this very property to arrest 18-year-old Miles Pfeffer. In a symbolic gesture, they cuffed him with Sergeant Fitzgerald's own handcuffs.
All right, all units available, please clear Broad Street. We got a report of an officer down here route to Temple.
On the evening of February 18, 2023, Philadelphia police radios crackled with routine updates. Among them, Temple University Police Sergeant Christopher Fitzgerald radioed in at 7:12 p.m. to report a pedestrian stop near 17th and Montgomery Avenue in North Philadelphia. What happened next would shock a city already struggling with surging violence. In a city where lines, hope, and hardship are often blurred, two young men crossed paths one cold Saturday night in February 2023. One was a husband, a father, and a public servant. The other, just 18 years old, came from privilege, yet still walked a path that ended in bloodshed. The murder of Temple University Police Sergeant Christopher Fitzgerald at the hands of Miles Pfeffer didn't just rattle Philadelphia. It ignited a painful national conversation about violence, accountability, race, and how two people raised under the same flag can live in two very different Americas. By every account, Sergeant Christopher Fitzgerald was doing exactly what he always wanted to do: serve. The 31-year-old father of four wasn't just a cop. He was a neighbor, a mentor, and a trusted figure in the community, too often at odds with the badge. Born into law enforcement, Chris was the son of Joel Fitzgerald Sr., a highly respected police chief who led departments in Fort Worth, Allentown, and Denver. But Chris didn't rely on his father's reputation. He built his own. He graduated from the Philadelphia Police Academy in 2018 and took a post with Temple University's police force in 2021. He was known for walking and biking his patrol, not driving, especially through neighborhoods surrounding Temple's campus that had seen a troubling rise in violence. Since 2020, up until that time, over 129 people had been shot within a quarter mile of the school, 14 of them fatally. Fitzgerald was trying to change that. He wore the badge for all the right reasons, said one of his colleagues. He didn't police from behind a windshield. He walked the beat. He knew people's names. Outside of work, he volunteered with Black Men Run, coached youth sports, and recently begun graduate studies at Temple, hoping to eventually take on a leadership role within the department. His wife, Marissa, remembers a man who brought his work ethic home, who stayed up late helping with homework and never missed bedtime, even after long shifts. Fitzgerald's life was one of quiet consistency. But on February 18, 2023, during a solo patrol, he spotted three masked teens near 17th and Montgomery. He radioed in a pedestrian stop, just another moment in his shift. or so he thought. Miles Pfeffer is not a typical face of violent crime in Philadelphia. Raised in Buckingham Township, Bucks County, he lived on a 22-acre farm with his mother. Chickens roamed the yard. Neighbors say it was quiet and peaceful, the kind of place parents moved to keep their kids away from danger. Pfeffer's life was a bridge between two Americas, the rolling hills of white privilege and the jagged corners of a city struggling to hold on. He knew two completely different worlds. His mother's modest farm and his father's address on Ridge Ave, where the houses know too many sirens and too few chances. But Pfeffer wasn't rooted in the calm of the suburbs or the chaos of North Philly. His parents were divorced. Pfeffer bounced between the two homes, between farmland and one of the city's most dangerous zip codes. He attended Central Bucks South High School, where he was eventually arrested for making terroristic threats, including allegedly threatening to shoot up the school. He was 15 at the time, and he was placed on probation and never returned. His mother reportedly homeschooled him after that, and court records suggest limited follow-up from juvenile services. Despite the arrest and threat, and unable to legally own a gun, he had to go obtain one illegally. Most of the time, a kid from the suburb who wants an illegal handgun is going to turn to criminals. At 18, Miles was already spiraling, posting videos of himself flashing weapons, smoking weed, and rapping about crime. Friends said he had become fascinated with power and unpredictability. One peer described him as a, quote, loose cannon. The 1700 block of Montgomery Ave had been the site of multiple robberies and carjackings in the days prior. When Fitzgerald saw three masked teens in all black, shadows in motion, he radioed in that he was preparing a pedestrian stop. It was 7:12 p.m. Moments later, video surveillance captured the beginning and end of the tragedy. Fitzgerald ran after one of the masked figures, a lanky 18-year-old Miles Pfeffer. On the surveillance footage, the officer orders him down. A scuffle. Fitzgerald is heard repeatedly telling Miles to get on the ground. Then, a flash. Pfeffer is seen firing a gun at Fitzgerald, who falls to the ground. Miles then stands over Fitzgerald and fires several more shots into his face and head area. Miles then reaches down and attempts to take the officer's service weapon, but can't seem to get the gun out of the holster. He also searches the unresponsive officer's pockets. Miles Pfeffer then flees westbound and turns onto 18th Street. Within minutes, the killer, still holding a black handgun, attempted a carjacking. The witness, a Temple student, just parked his 2020 black Infiniti Q60 on the 1800 block of North 18th Street. He then heard what sounded like 4 to 6 gunshots, then, about a minute later, noticed a male running up 18th Street. He then heard, bro, and saw the male was running toward him and was pointing a black handgun at him and demanding his keys.
I just feel really awful that something had to happen to him, because he was just like protecting us.
Pfeffer is also accused of committing a carjacking a short time later. Audio of that incident apparently captured by this Ring camera.
Miles then got into the black Infiniti and sped off on North 18th Street. No one can say what Pfeffer and his two friends, one of them his younger brother, were doing in North Philadelphia that night. But in less than 30 minutes, he managed to embody the city's twin crises, a surging epidemic of carjackings and a spike in brazen, often senseless homicide. Miles gets away in a vehicle north on 18th Street. This vehicle was later recovered near 29th and Ridge. 29th and Ridge is where his father's house and Strawberry Mansion was. And then, in a final gesture of twisted irony, he was picked up by his mother and driven back to the quiet hills of Bucks County. Coincidentally, 29th and Ridge is where a mural arts program has a mural of another officer who died in the line of duty. Robert Wilson III was gunned down while trying to stop a robbery in a GameStop store in 2015. The two people Miles was with, his younger brother and the other young boy, would tell police exactly what happened when they were caught. The younger brother stated he was with his brother, Miles Pfeffer. When Fitzgerald attempted to stop them, the witness and Miles started running and he ducked into an alley and hid. He saw the officer chase Miles and then heard gunshots. He later was shown video footage of the shooting and identified the male who shot Fitzgerald as his brother, Miles Pfeffer. A second witness, the other young boy they was with, who we'll call witness number 1, The brother and Miles Pfeffer had the High Times grocery store, according to witness number 1, at 1702 Cecil B. Moore Ave. He says he came out of the store and he went his way and the other two went their way. He later heard gunshots and started running. Pfeffer was arrested the next morning on his family's Boxley Farm property in Buckingham Township, a place of horses, wooden fences, and a slow, unbothered breeze. It could not have been further in soul or soil from the place where Officer Fitzgerald bled out in the street. The following Sunday, multiple weapons were seized on the Bucks County property where Miles Pfeffer was taken into custody. Pfeffer may have tried to melt a murder weapon in the fire pit on the family's land, sources say. Pfeffer now faces charges including first-degree murder, murder of a law enforcement officer, robbery, and multiple weapons offenses. He waived his preliminary hearing and remains in jail without bail. Another big controversy came in July 2024 when Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner announced that he would not seek the death penalty. Despite widespread calls from Fitzgerald's family, the Temple University Police Association, and state lawmakers, Krasner said pursuing capital punishment would not serve long-term justice and noted Pennsylvania's existing moratorium. Sergeant Fitzgerald's family responded with anger and disbelief. His father, Joel, called the decision, quote, a betrayal, and his widow, Marissa, called it a, quote, gut punch. The family has since filed a civil lawsuit against Pfeffer's parents and is seeking a special prosecutor under a newly passed Pennsylvania law that allows the Attorney General to step in when a local DA is accused of failing to seek justice for a murdered officer. Pfeffer's mother, though not criminally charged, has come under scrutiny for allegedly aiding in her son's escape by picking him up after the murder. That decision remains a painful point of contention for the Fitzgerald family.
For Temple University police officer Chris Fitzgerald killed in the line of duty Saturday night. U.S. Marshals arrested the accused gunman, 18-year-old Miles Pfeffer, within 12 hours of that shooting. He's charged with murder and will appear in court in March. Police say Pfeffer's mother picked him up Saturday night after the shooting in North Philadelphia and brought him to the family's home in Bucks County. Officer Fitzgerald's widow has a message to Pfeffer's mother.
Your mother, who picked you up, should be charged, and we will make sure of that.
Yeah, leading some to ask, could his mother face criminal charges? Our NBC 10 legal expert, Enrique L1 Latoyson, joins us now. It's important to note, Enrique's not involved in this case. Enrique, always good to see you. I wish it was under better circumstances than this. Curious here, what goes into charging a parent for picking up their son, whether or not they knew what happened?
Well, in this particular situation, it doesn't matter if it's a parent or not. Pfeffer's mom basically picked him up after the murdering of this officer. And so one of the things she can be charged with is accessory after the fact. Also, she did have another child that was underage who was not there. So the question becomes, what did she know at the time that she picked Pfeffer up by himself? Took him back to Bucks County. At that time, the evidence that's been out so far is that Pfeffer had time to destroy that murder weapon or to hide some things. So the question becomes, was she a co-conspirator in the hindering of that, the obstruction of justice, the tampering with evidence? In a case like this, in my experience, the police are far from done in doing their investigation. And you can best believe in a case like this, they will continue to look into things, to investigate things, look at phone calls, text messages, and things of that nature before deciding whether or not she had anything to do with this.
Tradition that we do anytime there's a fallen officer.
Documents take us through just how they were able to track Pfeffer down using the help of surveillance and other video. Shortly after the fatal shooting, video appears to show Pfeffer carjacking someone. That stolen car was found dumped at North 30th Street and Sedgley Avenue before he would make his way almost an hour away to Bucks County. Sources tell us the suspect told investigators he melted the gun he used in the crime. Chopper 6 was above as officers sifted through this fire pit. Action News is also told authorities recovered several weapons from the property.
On Thursday, November 21st, 2024, at around 6:40 p.m., another incarcerated man, Rafael Venegas, ran out of his cell and attacked Pfeffer, who is now 19, with a homemade weapon, according to the jail incident report. Pfeffer suffered puncture injuries to his forehead, inner right hip, and right hand, the report said. After Venegas refused commands to stop, a correctional officer pepper sprayed him and he and Pfeffer were separated, the report said. Pfeffer was taken to a Jefferson Torresdale hospital for medical evaluation, according to a report. A law enforcement source said his injuries were not life-threatening. Miles Pfeffer's next major court appearance is the start of his jury trial, currently scheduled for June 23, 2025, in the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas. This is when the case will go before a jury and the charges I mentioned earlier, including first-degree murder and murder of a law enforcement officer. He is, of course, innocent until proven guilty. I'm gonna leave it there for now. Thanks for watching American Confidential, and until next time, be safe. I want to give a special shout out to Next Baki, Kid from Philly, Mobile Mechanic, Noah Broach, Hetty Patty Plain Jane, Paul Lang, Louch, Guillermo Beitler, Miss Howard U.S. 94, and Kevin Glenn. Those people are $10 patrons. Thank you to everybody I just mentioned.